Hey everyone, so this is Chicago Fire Season 6, Episode 7 called A Man's Legacy. So basically it starts off right after Episode 6 where Brett and Dawson are working. Brett's working on Dawson's father while Gabby's driving them to Chicago Med. Gabby stays at the hospital once they get there. Casey and Antonio arrive, and we're told that apparently a guy was raving out a manifesto and started trying to stab people, and Ramon stepped in. Rose comes out and tells everyone that he pulled through the surgery. So basically, then goes to Stella, telling Brett about how she kissed Severide, saying she doesn't have feelings for him anymore. And I'm like, girl, that is such a lie. You still have feelings for him. What she does with those feelings is up to her, but she cannot say she doesn't have feelings for him anymore when it's clearly obvious to everyone else, even her. So anyway, Gabby then decides to go into work anyway a few days, like either a day or two after or something like that. And then Otis comes in and starts pitching a total makeover for Molly's North, and Herman agrees as long as it doesn't drain any money out of their pocket. Like drain all their money out of their pocket and everything. Ambulance 61 and Truck 81 are then called to an apartment building where the electric box for the whole building is sparking and smoking. The manager, who I think it is, tells them that a man in 1C, or an old man in 1C, is always tripping the breakers. So Otis and Herman go check it out and smell smoke. They go inside, see a bunch of humidifiers going off with stuff on the wall, with the man lying on the floor. So they find that the fire started behind an outlet where the old man had plugged a lot of stuff into. Bowden is inside and realizes the man in the apartment is a famous blues musician named Stokes. Once they take him to the hospital, Gabby checks on Ray or Ramon and sees a whole bunch of flowers delivered to his room. Cruz then sets back at the station. Cruz sets Otis up with someone to do advertising for Molly's North, saying that it's like $288. It sounded like that's all he meant was $288, and we find out later that that's not the case. It's actually $25,000 for the whole thing. So that prompts another whole advertising thing. Anyway, so Bowden then has Casey tell Gabby and Brett to come to him to film it on Stokes. And he's wondering why all the humidifiers were in his house. And Malch explains that it might be a lung thing because his uncle, one of his uncles, or I don't know if he has more than one, but I'm going to say one of his uncles couldn't live without one towards the end of his life because he was a lifelong smoker. Bowden and then asks for Casey and Malch to come over for a drink that night to listen to some blues music. And then we find out that Otis wants to open Molly's North in only a few days, which Stella's like, well, how are you going to do that? How are you going to do all that in a couple of days? And apparently the reason why he wants to do it because the day that he wants to have Molly's North open is a lucky number for Molly's in general. So then we see Brett later that night in her apartment, and Antonio, Antonio is knocking on the door. When she opens, he explains, well, I have a sweatshirt that isn't yours that I'm bringing back to you. So when he's inside, he's like, well, I knew the moment I saw you in the hospital that I was going to be in trouble. So they start kissing and making out and presumably have sex. So Dawson tries to go back to see her father the next day in the hospital and sees he's about to do an interview. So I don't know. I mean, I don't. Anyways, I'm gonna just keep going. So next little scene we see is Otis getting word that the Molly's North advertising will be $25,000. Kid then tells Cruz that she has this guy who, for the past couple months, has been trying or hitting on her and stuff, and he works as a DJ for a radio station. So Otis is like, well, set it up because I want to go on air. But Stella's like, well, I can see what I can do, but I don't know if it's gonna actually work. We do find out that she is able to get Otis on the air, but Otis is humiliated in the long run. So, but before that scene, before Otis and Stella go to the DJ's job, Bowden, Casey, and Mouch are all at Bowden's house drinking and listening to Stokes' old records. And Bowden is feeling some type of way. So he suggests they all go to the hospital. But once they do, they get word that he died. And run into Stokes' daughter. I can't remember what her name was supposed to be, but they run into her, and he gives her his condolences, but she explains that she never really spent much time with her father because of the fact that when she was young, her mother took her from him because of the fact that her mother didn't like the lifestyle or the way that Stokes ran his life. So the next day, Ambulance 61 and Squad 3 get a call out to a doctor's office. It kind of looks like a dentist office, but I can't be sure. I can't remember right at the second, but as Gabby and Brett are about to, treat people, Gabby sees a woman trying to go back inside under the guise that she's going to get her purse. The woman ends up going back in anyway when Gabby turns her back, and then Gabby goes running in after her. When she does, Severide finds the source of the fire, saying that it's in the ceiling, and it's next to an oxygen line. When he sees Gabby and the woman, the oxygen line explodes, and right before he and Gabby bring the woman out, Gabby finds drugs in the woman's purse. Once inside, she checks her out for a second, and then when she tries to leave, Gabby tells her that she put the drugs back. The woman says, I can't remember what her name is either. I think she said Ella or something. I think she said her name is Ella. I think so. I think she said her name was Ella. But anyway, she says that the reason she had them was for someone else, and apparently Gabby believes her. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but anyway, so after all that, at Molly's North opening, Bowden invites Stokes' daughter to come, and he explains why he has such a deep connection to Stokes. He went to a show that Stokes played at when he was a young child, back in like 1974 or 75, I think he said, that his father took him to. And when he saw his father have this deep connection to the music that Stokes was playing, he stepped into his father's shoes for just a little bit, and that's why he has such a deep connection to this blues musician. Outside of Molly's North, Brett runs into Antonio, and they decide to go somewhere else instead of going inside. I have a prediction about them, and Otis and Lily, too. But I'll get to that in a second. Gabby then, goes to visit her father one more time, and he notices that she isn't happy. She explains the reason she isn't is because she wishes she could have done more to help him when he got hurt. But he tells her, you know what? You've done more for me in the past year than you did than I could have ever, been, been thought I was gonna get. Um, Especially since you were here for me, and your brother and mother refused to talk to me and all that. So really, like, you've done more for me in the past year than I could ever have imagined. So I'm glad they kind of, resolved their differences here. At least try it, like, started working on it. Um, so that's the end of the episode. So next week on Chicago Fire, it looks like Antonio and Brett try again at a relationship. But yeah, so Antonio and Brett are trying again at a relationship, and I'm like, I'm curious as to, um, they're one of my predictions, and I'm hoping that they work out this time and stay together. I don't know if they'll get married, but because I believe Antonio said that he would not like to get married again. I believe um, he said on Chicago PD, possibly, or possibly even on this particular show, that he didn't want to get married again after he had gotten divorced the first time. But I hope they. But my prediction is that they're gonna stay. They'll work it out and eventually stay together. At least I hope. Um, I think, as far as Otis and Lily go, they will end up becoming more serious, and they will get married. They will definitely get married, and I'll even shoot for, by the end of the season, like on the season finale, they'll end up getting married. So that is all I have for this particular episode. Um, and I will see you guys next week.